Hey guys, I'm Nina Zeta with Sidewalker Daily, and in today's video, I want to talk about taxes for content creators and some common tax write-offs so that you guys can be well aware of things that you can write off. Now, let me start by saying I am not an accountant. You should definitely get one. I'm in no means here to give you, or can I give you, any legal or professional advice. The advice that I'm giving is just based on my own experiences. So of course, if you guys have any questions, you should totally seek out to a professional to help you figure out your own tax situation. But basically, as an influencer or a content creator, you are self-employed. Even if you're doing this as a side hustle, if you are making money, then that means you will have to be paying taxes on that income, right? So a lot of times what ends up happening is creators, may have a full-time job, but then they're also doing like paid brand partnerships or getting paid for their work or content. And then they're like, wait a second, I have to pay taxes on this income. So this video, I want to hopefully help you understand some tax write-offs so that you can basically make those deductions in your taxable income. Let me kind of explain how a write-off works. So there are certain expenses in your business or that it takes to run a business, right? So like paying for your office supplies or your domain name or your website hosting, right? These are all expenses that go into your business. And let's just say you're working with a brand or a few brands, and in a year you make around $50,000. Well, that means you're taxed off of that figure that you're making, right? That's your income that you're going to be taxed off of. Well, the way a write-off works or deduction works is that certain expenses will help bring that number down so that you're taxed off a new number. Now, this is obviously a simplified explanation, but just to make it super super for you to understand, again, this is not exactly how it works because there are different levels of write-offs, but bear with me. Let's just say you make $50,000 and you had $20,000 worth of expenses. That would bring your taxable income down. Instead of being taxed on $50,000, now you're gonna be taxed on $30,000. And again, simplified version because it's not always going to be exactly like that. The numbers will vary, but just to kind of help you understand. So you're paying less taxes because you're deducting certain write-offs. So what are some common write-offs when it comes to content creators, right? And that's what this video is gonna go over, some major common ones that we're all kind of spending on that you can now write off when it's tax season for you. And also, please note, guys, that this video is really for US creators. Tax laws vary by country, so the information I'm kind of giving is based off of course, here in the US. So some common write-offs for content creators would obviously be your office supplies, right? Things that you need to make your content. We're talking your computer. If you purchased Adobe Spark this year and it costs a certain number, amount to own membership to Lightroom. If you have a camera, that you just bought, or certain equipment that you need to buy, again, to shoot certain content, these expenses can be written off. So anything having to do with office supplies or, expenses directly related to that. We're talking software, writing, editing, recording, lighting, all of that good stuff. Okay. So that's definitely something you guys should be writing off if you haven't already. Now, also let's talk about your website, to manage and run a website. What does that even look like? From paying your domain name yearly, perhaps, to your hosting site of your website, any sort of website maintenance. Are you paying a web developer to help maintain your website? Anything that's surrounding that would also be a very common write-off for people in our industry. Let's talk about travel and meals. If you are traveling for a job, let's just say you are a content creator and you need to go on a trip to shoot certain content for a client, yes, you could write that off. You could write off that trip, the meals associated with that trip, mileage even. Perhaps there could be a certain, portion of the mileage that you'd be able to write off. Of course, these aren't writing it off 100%. A lot of times it's within, the mileage, there's a percentage that you can write off within it. But again, these are expenses that you had to pay the cost of running your business, right? So of course, if you're going on a trip with your family of 4, you can't write that off because it's not a business trip. But if you're going on a work trip, that's something that you can. What about education and, materials for your business? So people have said to us in the past, oh my gosh, I'm going to write off your course. I'm going to buy your course, our Pitching to Brands Master course, and I'm going to write it off because it's an expense that I'm using to grow my business. So again, maybe there's educational materials or things that are related to, growing your business and the skills that you're looking to achieve, that those are things that you could also write off. So if you did buy our course, or if you want to buy our course, perhaps it could be a business expense for you and something you can write off. People have asked me before, Nina, as a content creator, I work from home, I have a home office. Is that something I can write off? Can I write off my rent? So obviously when it comes to things like rent and that sort of situation, please talk to your local CPA. But our understanding is no, you can't write off your entire home, your entire apartment rent. The way it usually works is you would have to look at it as a percentage. So if it's a 4-bedroom house and there's 1 bedroom is an office, that's 25%. So maybe you can write off 25% of your rent. And again, these numbers are loose and very simplified. But things like rent or utilities, like paying for your Wi-Fi, you may be able to write off a share of your rent, a share of your utilities and the expenses in that sort of space, especially if you are working from home. Advertising is a big one, guys. If you are spending money on ads, let's just say whether it be Facebook ads or ads to get new business, a lot of times advertising costs are also an expense. So this is something that you can also write off. If you see what I'm doing here, businesses, that are trying to optimize their taxes, they're trying to write off as much as they can within the realms of it being legal, of course, but so that they're able to bring that taxable income as low as possible, right? So that's why, especially as a content creator or influencer, depending on how much you make, this should be a mindset that you are also incorporating so that you can bring that taxable income down. And I'd like to say people fear spending money on legal and professional services, which are also services that you can write off. You can write off your lawyer's fees and your accountant fees, but don't be afraid. Having a good accountant is a really, really good investment in your business. Now, a bookkeeper is different because they're running your books, and yes, that can add up, but having someone help you, an accountant help you during tax season to really optimize, I would say that is a great decision, an investment so that they can help you write off, the most possible. Now, another big thing that a lot of YouTubers, TikTokers, creators are writing off are obviously their cell phone use. If they are have a business cell phone or a phone that's really designated to work, again, that's something that you can add. Also, subcontractors. There's a lot of expenses that you will occur as a creator with different subcontractors. Are you bringing on an editor? Do you have an assistant, a virtual assistant, someone that's helping you? Again, paying these people are considered business expenses. So it's something that you can also and should be writing off. So anyways, guys, remember, even if you're doing this as a side hustle, as an influencer or creator, you are considered self-employed and therefore need to be paying taxes on the money that you're making in your brand partnerships. So hopefully today's video gave you a whole bunch of different ideas of things that you can be writing off to bring down your taxable income and be making the most money. Anyways, let me know what you guys think of today's video, if this was helpful, and I will see you guys in our next video.